everybody, welcome to Talkn Clix. I am, as always, Wespool, joined by Scott Johnson from the Johnson & Johnson family. And we are joined today by Mike Eskew. Hello, Mike.
Hey everybody. Hey Wes. Hey Scott.
Hey, Mike.
So I wanted to start today off with a very special announcement. For anybody that is looking to get some free pricing, tune in on May 21st. I will have a set time posted shortly. I am going to do a live stream with Anthony Barnstable and Jay and Hoff and Eli. Everybody that's helping me with Red, White, and Clix. We are going to roll out some of the pricing that's we've been working on, some of the announcements that we've been keeping secret. So if you're planning on going to Red, White, and Clix, tune in for our live stream giveaway, which will be giving away some iconics, a few LEs, Zombie Scarlet Witch. Just for tuning in and listening to us talk about Red, White, and Clix, you get entered in for free stuff. So May 21st. Pay attention for details coming, but it was going to be a fun live stream. So today we were talking to Mike Eskew. Mike, do you go Mike or Michael?
Mike. Mike is fine. I think most people in the Clicks community know me as Mike.
All right.
Some people know you as the nicest guy in the Clix community.
Nah, there's lots of others I would put above me. I have too much of a jerk streak that comes out too often.
Well, it's funny, Mike. I was just talking to the Queen of the North, Emily, just a couple days ago, and I mentioned that you're going to be our next guest, and she couldn't stop going on about how wonderful you are and how much she loves playing with you. So there's that.
Yeah, Emily is the best. Yeah, she's just not only is she a great Clicks player, but just one of the best people. I always look forward to seeing her and just spending time with her. She's just great hugs and just great time to be with her. Yeah, I love it.
So this is Talking Clix. Tell me about how you got started in Clix, how long you've been playing, and a little bit why you're still in the game.
Sure. I started. I've been playing Clicks. I've been playing games, board games, tabletop games most of my life. How I connected with friends. I moved to Dallas in 2005 and didn't know anyone, and so gaming stores and comic book stores are where I usually could find my people. And literally, first week of moving into town, I went to a comic book store here in the Dallas area, and they had people playing Clicks. I mean, I was looking for Mordheim or Warhammer, those types of games, and then they had Clicks set up. And I'm a big comic book fan and all that stuff too. So just as an easy transition for me. They had a pretty good group of guys playing every week, and then I just made friends instantly that way, and did that for several years. And then I played mostly casual from '05 till about the early 20 teens, probably 2012, 2013. I got some group of friends together. We started traveling around, started playing in the competitive circuit, and then I found a different love for the game. It went from just playing a certain way, but then I make big legit friendships. I like to challenge myself. I always say that when I'm playing Clix, I'm not playing against somebody, I'm playing against myself. And that's true about life in general, but with Clix, it's an easy way to do that. And I'm just trying to get better, and hopefully I can figure out my mistakes and then kind of go from there. But why do I keep playing Clix? It's a little bit there. I think I like to challenge myself and get better. And it's a thing that combines, the nerdy things that I love, but also the competitive aspect. But also, again, I cannot stress this enough. Got legitimate friends that are. I mean, I've been doing this, 20 years of casual play, but more than 10 years of competitive play, and I consider these people, like a lot of these people, like legit, real friends. So, I mean, it's a combination of things. I love the game. I really love the complexity of the game, and I've got a son that's kind of coming up, and he's real eager to start learning to play more and more. So all of that's kind of why I keep playing. I love those aspects.
Do you consider yourself a meta player?
Yeah,
Yes.
I would say yeah. I had someone tell me that they call me Meta Mike in their whole group, competitive group area. So anyway, I don't do that for casual weeks, not necessarily, but for if I'm playing for a tournament to come to win, yeah, I'm hoping. I mean, I'm going to try to be nice and I'm going to try to play I want to be a good sportsman and all that stuff, but at the same time, I want to play to win. So use the best strategies to win. Yeah.
So I remember the week that I come and stayed at your house, which was out
Oh,
of the blue. You just said, "Hey, yeah, you can crash at my house." You took me to a casual game night. I think it was a Wednesday or a Thursday night at a local shop, and
yeah.
you were still crushing it, even though it was just casual pieces, casual play. So I mean, you crushed both sides of the game, and I want to ask you, how is it? Is it easy for you to flip the switch from competitive to casual and then back?
Yeah, it just depends. So, like, if I know the people that I'm playing with, the casual folks I'm playing with are not meta players at all, I turn it down way down. But if I know that those players can hang and they want to hang, and then they like to kind of skirt the two side, kind of straddle the two areas. Like, I've got a friend of mine, Robbie. That guy, if he ever wants to go super competitive, he's won major tournaments. He came in second in Worlds. He won the last year's Scott versus the World tournament. I mean, but he is a sealed player first. But the dude is casual as casual can be. But my casual guys that play here are all really strong players. That's why I'm bringing this up. And so when I'm playing against those guys, it's okay. You can do both. You really can. But if I know that the group is majority going to be a little, I don't know, they're just less into the game, to the min maxing of the game, then I can turn that back off. It really just depends on who I know is going to be there. Like if I know my tried and true folks are there, I can lean in a little heavier and be okay. But I don't know. Part of the fun of this game is, like I used to say this all the time. How do I combine? Well, when I'm playing competitive, how do I find the puzzle to solve for the meta in the moment, right? It gives me the competitive edge. But what I drew me to the game the most is how do I build a team of all bald women, or how do I build some crazy, like these are all shirtless dudes and hairy men fighting, or no, something weird like that, right? I just kind of pick. I used to make myself pick a weird scenario, make it fit whatever the actual rules of that week's casual game, and that was the game for me. Because as I started getting a little bit better, I didn't want to scare off anybody else. So that's easy to do when you start getting more competitive, if that makes sense. So I would
Very
challenge
much so.
myself to play off the wall stuff to still make it feel like it was a different kind of competitive for me. If that makes sense. Still could
Uh,
be casual, but still the competition for me. If I get one or two wins out of an all bald women team, then I did okay. If everybody else is still playing medium to strong.
Going into
Nothing
the
against bald women, bald people or women. Nothing against either. Sorry, nothing. I just want to call it out.
going into the competition season with H4H and Nats and Worlds, do you pick? Do you build a team and run it into the ground over and over, or do you switch things up? How do you prepare for these big events?
Yeah, so I usually so right after silver, right after the H for H, I will usually pick a modern team and run it from right after May all the way into Worlds. I'll tweak it, run it through every tournament I can, but that's what I tend to do, and that's how if I'm going to do well, that's the formula that's worked best for me. If I, and I to, Anybody who can flip between teams every competitive event, that's wonderful. I think that's great for you, but for me this game's hard, and there's a lot of little pieces to it, and I've got a life outside of it too. And so, for me, the best is to focus on one particular team and get better at it. It just worked for me. So, but for silver, that's a whole other thing because with silver, I care mostly about I don't know, either a combination of playing pieces that I enjoyed in the past or strategies that I enjoyed in the past, or I don't know, silver's just kind of so wide open. You just kind of have to just jump in, right? But when it comes to the competitive, I usually competitive modern. I will pick a team about May and run it through September, or a version of it through September.
So, do you have a local shop that y'all play at?
Yeah, so I haven't been playing as much as I would like, but we do now again. Finally, there's two shops that are probably within 20 miles of my house. One plays on Tuesdays and one's on Wednesdays. So we do. It's just I have not been able to play it much. I
Do you
get
want to shout out their names while you're here?
Oh, sure. It's Game Nerds. There's one in Allen and there's one in Mesquite, Texas. So, Game Nerds. They do a lot. Yeah, they're pretty popular for selling like the bundles. they're pretty well known. But Game Nerds, they have a couple of local stores here. Their home bases here.
Do you use Roll20 at all?
I used to, especially during leading up to COVID. Before COVID, that was our practice way when everybody was that's how we practiced. And then COVID, of course, changed our relationship with Roll20. I've kind of slowed down with it, especially in the last couple of years as we've had more in-person play. But like right now, I'm feeling the itch with H for H and a few other things coming up. I'm feeling the itch that if I can't get a game in, I'm gonna have to resort to that. I also use Roll20 for myself. Like I'll set up a game easily. In the old days, before I had kids, I'd set up a table, set up on my kitchen table, and I could just let it sit up there for a week or two and run scenarios over and over and over again. Now with Roll20, you just have a virtual tabletop and you just do that same thing. So I'll use it a lot of times to play against myself. If that makes sense.
So I want to ask about your local venue again. Do you have a bunch of regular players, or are y'all just
Right
spread out?
now it's about, let's see here, probably 4 to 6. It's probably 6-ish is probably what's coming there. And the Allen store, the Mesquite store gets probably closer to 10. But it's just, I'd say that's probably what we're getting right now. I'd say 6 and 10 between the stores.
So if you got all of the guys together, y'all have 16, 20 players?
Yeah, I mean, so you got to remember in the Dallas area, there's the Fort Worth group. So like, there's a bunch of folks that live over that side of it, and they go to Sci-Fi Factory, and there's a whole other group over there, probably 10 or probably between both sides of the Metroplex, probably 30 competitive or 30 regular players, give or take. Yeah, with more beyond that don't play regularly, but might show up.
That's a pretty big group within an hour drive.
Yeah. Well, it used to be significantly bigger. I mean, I know everybody would say that in the War of Light days, and in my day, but no, back in the War of Light days, I mean, I've said this many times. We had 70 just for an event for War of Light back in the day, just showing up for a normal. It was a bigger event, but it was before WKOs and everything. But just for our War of Light, the OP kit event or whatever it was called back then, the War of Light summer event,
The sealed.
The sealed event, and we had 70 people. Between 40 and 70 was our normal back
then. Every single time that I talk to anybody who's been playing for more than a couple of years, they refer to War of Light era as like the peak of Heroclix fandom. Do you think that Wizkids will ever return to that level, or is that just been gone?
That's a good question. I think, a couple of things have happened. I mean, in the last 10 years, I mean, because that's basically what we're talking about here. The world's changed a bit. There's even more things that you have. Everything is so much easy to get access to, and it keeps splintering our attentions more and more. As it's just like, cable TV 10 years or 20 years ago was one thing, and public television was another, even 20 years or 30 years before that. It's just as we keep splintering our attention spans, I feel like it's harder and harder to reclaim those top spots. I would like to believe yes, but no, I don't think so. I'm not trying. I mean, I'm feeling kind of pessimistic there because it's just that there's always new IPs coming out all the time, and that people were connecting, whether it's One Piece or I don't know, whatever, Flesh and Blood or whatever game comes out, flash in the pan game. But I do think one thing I like about Clix is it does still have a steady base, and we're starting to see new people show up, which is a big deal. I'd say about 5 years ago, during the COVID era, if you were one of the whales that played the game for a long time, you're the only people kind of keeping it alive. But at least now we're seeing new people coming in, new people winning. I mean, it was really great to see, I'm not trying to say Dylan's a newer comer, but he was not as well-known player, and to see him win last year was amazing. I love that. That was a long-winded answer. I hope that answered your question.
No, I think it nailed it. I mean, yeah, I feel like Wizkids could get more players into it and have more summer OP events like War of Light, but I feel like they don't have any advertisement. And if there was advertisement, just a YouTube commercial or something would be game-changing for the game.
I think they rely pretty heavily on us to be the advertising vehicle for them, and it works. I mean, because we're the super fans, right? Wes and Scott, this podcast is super fans putting it together, saying, "I want to put an echo chamber of your content and doing it for free," right? And then there's a lot of people that do that. That's really great. So I think they rely on that, and they periodically have done that. I mean, they did something with the New Day, that the wrestling tag team a couple of years ago. They've done little spots of it. I mean, Scott Porter's great and all that, but I mean, I remember books used to be like advertising comic books, and I don't know if anybody buys comics like they used to, but I totally agree. Right now, it just if we're not careful, the system or the community will just cannibalize itself eventually, right? There's a point we have to find a balance of injecting new players and still keeping the old players around, and it has to be that's the way to grow the base. Because if you start letting one side of it go down and the other side not keep up, that's where we start to be a death spiral. And so right now we're kind of treading water. That's what it feels like. We're treading water, but I'd like to see us gain some ground.
Well, the reason that I got onto this podcast was my ideas for the casual play. I feel like most of the podcasts were always leaning towards the meta. We're going to review the meta game. We're going to keep doing this meta stuff. So I'm like, hey, there's a ton of people that play this game casually that don't listen to the meta, that don't have any interest in the meta. So I wanted to start trying to get pods of those people into the podcasting stuff and be like, okay, there's another way to play this game that we've been doing. Let's see it highlighted.
I don't know if you guys listened to Degeneration Clix with Miles Kane and Ryan Redmond. They had a really good episode this last week where Rob Pearson asked about the separation from the casual to the competitive player and what defines somebody a good player or a bad player, quote unquote, because a lot of times the meta players kind of look at the casual ones a certain way, and then the casual players kind of look at the meta a certain way. How would you define what is a meta player and a casual player, and what defines a good or bad player?
So before I don't think you can meta or casual matters if you're a good or a bad player, right? I think that part that happened. We got the same percentage of people probably on both spectrums of that. I hope it's if you're kind of if your personality is a little less than ideal, it's going to be the same no matter if you're a super competitive meta player or if you're a casual player. I'm just saying, I've seen that on both spectrums, and heck, I've been on both spectrums. I've been that person on both sides of it as you hope you grow as a person. So I think what ends up happening is the competitive player is used to everything being turned up a notch. They're expecting it the whole time, and it's not. I mean, like I'm seeing less and less gotchas, which is what I'm really proud of. That competitive, community is like getting less and less gotchas. But I think what happens is the casual player may not be as versed in that super cranked up meta, and so they feel like they got gotcha when they absolutely did, right? And I think what ends up happening is they come up showing thinking that they are playing the same game, and most of the time they're not, and that's what causes the friction. It has nothing to do with being the individual player. They came in expecting to play two different games. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then that was the cause of the friction. I mean, and it kind of goes back to Scott, your question earlier. How do you flip the switch back and forth between competitive and casual? And not everybody can do that often. And it's same true if you're a casual player. Sometimes you can't flip the competitive switch on. I had a tournament at my house a couple of weeks ago, and the friend that won hated that he won. He does not want. He's not a competitive player, and I'm really proud that he won. It's wonderful he won, but he keeps wanting the other person to win in every possible way. Like it bothers him to win. So I didn't answer. I think my perspective on that is we have a whole percentage of people that are bad losers or just again they're not coming to play the same game. Sorry, I think I've lost your original question. The difference between bad players and competitive players and casual players? Or
Yeah. Yeah. What you said really goes side by side with what they said on that podcast. That there are no good and bad players. There's good and bad losers or winners, but whether you are playing all bald women or playing the ultra broken meta, it's all just a game at the end. And it's just a matter of having fun and how you win or how you lose that makes you a good or bad player.
Look, I'm going to say that we all have bad beats, and those things are like very disheartening, and they test you. Like you want to just go out there and melt your dice or throw them across the parking lot. But pull your pants up, get to the next game. It's going to get better. It may get worse
So,
before it gets better, but it'll get better.
so Scott, what I said earlier about when I'm playing against myself, that's what I mean by that. Occasionally, yep, that seeps in, and you got to figure out how do I how do I learn from this, right? How because a lot of times you want to blame the other person, blame the dice, blame. Most of the time, it's because you made a mistake 3 turns ago, and then they capitalized on it, and that's why you lost. And if you'd
Positioning
been a
is
little
more
sharper,
important.
right? Yeah, but it's easier to play. It's more fun and it's easier to pass the blame. But really, you made the mistake, 3 or 4 turns ago, and that's what happened. Or you made it turn one, or you were an optimal setup, or whatever it was. There's a million different scenarios here.
Yeah, I played a game
But
on Saturday, and we always talk about the games afterwards about what we could have done differently or whatever. And I felt like I didn't make any mistakes in this one game. And he pointed out, well, you did when you moved up Hawkeye one square too close, and I was able to reach him. And I was like, yeah, you're right, because I miscalculated. I didn't know one of his figures could free move another character, and I put Hawkeye one square out too far, and he walloped him. And I didn't really see it as a mistake until he pointed that out. I'm like, yeah, I miscalculated. That's my fault.
and see, and like that right there is a thing that could feel like a gotcha to certain people, but as a competitive player, you can see that I just made a mistake and he capitalized on it and moved on, right? But the other person's like, we only did that because he had that cheap meta tactic and blah blah blah. No, he's got an optimal figure for the moment. That's it, and he used the optimal move. That's
What do you got,
All right,
Scott?
salty or sweet?
it. What's that? Oh, for
So,
me, salty or
yeah,
sweet?
salty or sweet.
Man, I really like both. I get, you know what? I'd love to say salty is the main, but I'm gonna say sweet. I'm gonna have to go.
All right, got somebody thumping.
I'm not sure if it's me or
I don't hear anything. Um, so you were talking about getting new players and stuff. The winner of Adepticon is 14 years old. Uh, he is the son and the nephew of two very good players in the Chicagoland area. Do your does your kid play HeroClix or your wife?
they don't. My son doesn't play. Neither one of them play real HeroClix. We have a kind of a dumbed down. I dumbed down the right word. We have a simplified version of HeroClix that we play right now. But since he's in a chess club that he's actually starting to do well in, or well better in, and so I told him as soon as he started to show he can understand those tactics, and his reading improved, and his reading is better now. Like now we can start, and he can do the math, the simple math, right? So I last year I've been polling a lot of the dads in the HeroClix community that I really look up to and that have kids that have played and that have gone on and played with them and everything. And I that's how they get started. And they all kind of have different ways. And I'm starting my son down that path right now. So it's no powers, right? We're just doing the math. Like, and I'm teaching my wife the same thing, and we're it's super simplified version, right? That's how we're doing it. Just pick your 2 favorite characters, whatever. We're just gonna go out there. We're gonna punch each other and shoot each other, and that's it right now. And we'll layer in powers. So it's gonna be a little bit, right? So I'm hoping like in the next year or two he'll be a little, we'll be in a different path. But right now it's a simplified Clix version right now. But we're getting it. He's 5.
Yeah, I mean it takes a while because their attention span is not what it used to
Yeah.
be 15 years ago.
And it's not a hard. It's not an easy game. I mean, this is. I mean, I don't even know how to even explain special powers and even the nuances of of some of the interactions. I mean, it's easy when you got 20 years playing it, but it's really hard. Well, I say that, and then the rules change every time. But
Yeah,
but for him, I mean, but for him, I'm just gonna keep it. We're gonna layer. We're gonna layer. Like we're gonna move to like movement powers, and then we'll do attack powers and so forth. So,
yeah. I when I'm teaching somebody new, we'll layer it with no dials or no powers, and then we'll go to
yeah.
movement powers, and that speeds the game up. And then you go to defensive powers, so it slows it back down. And then you
Yep.
work on your attack powers, and then lastly will be all your free action stuff with outwit and perplex and all that other.
So, Mike, what is your day job?
So I am basically a director of procurement for a big box retailer buying global transportation. Basically, I make the deals with the ocean and ocean liners, the truck lines, the airlines, moving goods all around the world, and like it's just, so everything from international origin to customer facing domestic loads, domestic deliveries as well, customer home deliveries.
So you're
Just
probably
everything in between.
watching these tariffs and stuff pretty closely.
Yeah, yeah, we've been involved with all that for many, many years. So it's like, so even like the previous Trump administration, I mean, we've got a whole team that watches all this. I mean, when it happened back then, so we've monitored the entire time. And so, yeah, that's definitely something it's my part of my every day. Moving things around, like leaving China, going to basically all we do is we just go to wherever's cheaper. That's all we do. Wherever has the infrastructure and it still has the general price point that's still reasonable, and that's all it does. I'm just letting everybody know. All this does is just make us move to other countries, and then it still makes everything more expensive. Sorry, that's my political rant for the moment. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, thanks for
But
sharing.
yes, I know all about that. I mean, it's a big part of my day. Yeah.
So what? So you are considered a meta player. What separates you from the rest of the pack?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I usually will kind of play my own thing, right? I mean, I'm not saying I don't play aspects of everyone else, but I tend to put my own spin on it, and I usually don't. I mean, again, if everybody's playing Colossus, it's kind of hard to say, you're playing that, but I don't know. I usually will have my own version of whatever is being played, and that's usually, whenever Thanos was big, I had my version of Thanos was different than everybody else's. That type of thing. I mean, when everybody's playing one Kong, I played three Kongs. I mean, just
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's just it might be similar meta, but I might. I try to do it my own spin, and I
It's got
try to
the
meta
Eskew
guess, but
twist.
everybody does that. I'm sorry, Scott. What were you saying?
Said it had the Eskew twist on it.
Yeah, I mean, but everybody should do that. I mean, that kind of puts a stamp on it, and I think that's that next step of when you get to be a competitive player. There's nothing. I don't have any problem with net decking. I look at everybody's builds that are winning, and I try to see, well, what did they do differently? Like, look here, I hadn't thought about the spot with the cloak of levitation. How much extra what that gives you is huge. But I think Isaac played that on one of his builds, and I was using a different thing. I was like, I didn't even think about what that does. And so little things like that, I might net deck a piece of that and then add whatever I want to from it or aspects of it. But we should all be kind of looking to see, dang, how they maximize something different. That's true about yourself too. I like to look, and some people say what comparison is the thief of joy. I look at it as, particularly if it's someone that I respect and want to emulate, comparison is how I try to get better. If that makes sense.
So I won't ask you to reveal any deep dark secrets, but let's say you are starting today with a brand new blank slate team, and you're preparing for an event 2 months down the road. What is your starting point? Do you start with a general idea of what you want a team to do, or you look for a certain character?
So a lot of times it's usually a figure I want to play or an idea I'm trying to focus on. And like I'll say high defense. I might think I think right now high defense is the right fit for the meta right now. I'll start looking to maximize from that. But most of the time it's around the figure that I want to play or that I like. Uh, that's generally how it'll work. Or a gimmick, and then I'll just how do I maximize that gimmick? So,
Do you think gimmicks belong in meta?
Yes.
well, yeah, absolutely. And well, a gimmick. So I'm not saying it like a gimmick as in this is just a one-trick pony. I meant gimmick as in like whatever your system is that's going to lead you down a path to victory. That's all I'm saying, right? By the gimmick, whatever that is. It might be I don't know. I'm going to be unkillable, or I'm going to take your. I'm going to make it where you can't touch me, or whatever it could be. Whatever your gimmick is. Yeah, I like to figure out a gimmick and then lean into that heavy and then figure it out.
Well, like obviously, I'm a big Deadpool fan.
Sure.
Um, and for the last year, I have been desperately trying to get Wolverine Pool to work, and because I feel like charge, flurry, giant reach four through walls, super senses, precision, all this. I mean, it should be broken, and yet it's not. And I've been people keep telling me it's just too gimmicky and it's just not good enough, which blows my mind that something with charge flurry, giant reach four through walls is not good enough. but
Yeah.
it's just not meta worthy apparently.
Yeah, I think that one is just one of those things. He just needs. I know it sounds crazy to say, but he needs something like full move charge or something, and just a because here's the thing with clicks. I mean, we're all looking for this. Is what is the most efficient for the points in today's exact meta? Because I mean, a month ago when something's not released is different than a month later when something's released, right? So it's a combination of that, but. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a really good figure. I just think it's his even with a giant reach 4, his reach is still a little limited, and
Yeah.
and he's still a little easier to put down than I would like. I forgot his point total, but it's like 75.
75. 75
75. Yeah,
something now.
yeah. I think
Well,
that's the issue.
it's
Yeah,
50 half dial, and you put the motorcycle on for 65.
yeah. But for 65 points, man, you can get spot, and spot does a lot,
Yeah.
right? Just or I can get man thing. Man thing does a lot for 55 points, and that's less points than what you're saying here, right? Or even like, or you can find like a support that's also pretty effective as an attacker, like a Major Logan, right? He's 45 points. I mean, so when I start comparing that, what you just said, to those other pieces, that's why he's like a really good, just right outside of that top tier. That's just how it works.
Yeah, you said you start with a figure with your team build. Do you start with the dial and what it does, or do you pick a
No,
Deadpool that you
usually
like?
yeah, usually it's like a thing that I want to do. I'm trying to think of a good example. I don't know. Like sometimes, like right here, right now, I'll just say for Heroclix for Huntington, I think Doom Swap is just too good. So everything my team right now start with Doom Swap. So it's a control. Basically, it's a control aspect of it. So I'm leaning in. I'm trying to figure out is this just a slice of it, or is this am I going to lean heavy into this, right? So that's I'm just trying to figure it out. I just decided to go to Heroclix for Huntington like literally a few days ago, so I wasn't super focused on it. So now I'm just like I know almost most of my 75% of my silver teams are starting to do swap right now. So right now I just think that just gives me too much. Now other aspects I might like if I'm building who is it a Hulkbuster team. I mean I think that's just, I mean I know everybody's probably thinking about him right now. But I just look at that gimmick. Now, how do I maximize that? Or do I just focus on keeping him alive? Or do I try to figure out how do I give more control aspects to the game? And there's an answer, just I'm not real sure. And then that's what's interesting is there's no way to practice, not to properly practice between now and the Silver Age tournament, unless we're your friends, but you don't really get like a way to really vet it beforehand. All these changes that happened 2 3 weeks ago, and we all get to see how they're going to shake out literally at the actual world tournament. So that's a little different.
Just want to
But
toss
anyway,
out there that
what's that?
Legacy Odin is really, really good.
He is. I don't have that. He's someone that I actually I was looking. I looked into, and I do think he's definitely worth playing. I think he's someone I would think about in the 3v3 Highland. That's one I like more than the silver. I don't know. I just think there's something there. I just like him. I do. I do like him. I just don't have the piece. So I like. I got 2 weeks or whatever, or 11 days or whatever to get shored up. He's not. I can't. I can't figure out him by then. So, but no, I think he's really good.
Now, Scott invited you onto the episode tonight. Do you guys have a history? Do you guys go way back?
Yeah. Well, I've known Scott. I don't know, at least 10 years, right?
Yeah, at
Or
least 10 years.
at least 10 years. I mean, Scott's down in South Texas, and I'm more Central Texas, and we kind of started like seeing each other at events, and then just
I
built
was
friendship.
I was needing a place to stay. Well, I could have went to a hotel. Work was covering the hotels, but I'm like, hey, there's a HeroClix community up in Dallas.
Yeah.
Let me just reach out. And Mike said, yeah, I'll put you up for a couple of days while you go to school. And then he also hooked me up at a hotel when we were at it was
Oh,
before HeroClix for Huntington's. It was Rock Cup.
yeah.
Yeah, and the roommates that I had, the room wasn't set up for 4 of us, so we were sleeping on the floors. I'm like, look, I'm just gonna reach out to the group and see if anybody's got a spot for me. And Mike's like, yeah, I'll put you in here with Caleb. He's kind of got a busted leg, but here you go. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
I had a really good time. Every time I see Mike, it's like, oh hey, let's catch up. Let's hug it out.
Yeah. See, and I've said this before on other podcasts. I mean, I know it's been said earlier about friendships, but Clix starts out as like, yes, I'm playing Clix, but like if I'm at a tournament, even whether it's a smaller one or a big one, I want to get to know the people I'm sitting across from. I love it when I play someone new or new to me, because hey, I get to make a new friend potentially, and not everybody are as social, and that's totally fine. But then you do find the ones you do connect with, and then you start like, well, then I talk about the cool team they played, but then it find out, oh, they have a wife and they have a 5-year-old son or whatever, or they like this thing that I like, and then you start then the next time I see them, well, hey, how's that thing going on with whatever, whatever it is that you're talking about. And then you do that for multiple years. And then for 3 or 4 days, you're like intense, like camp buddies, right? And then you go back and have your life. But then, I don't know, those intense weekends really are something. They're special, if that makes sense.
Do you go to a
So
lot of the events? Like, do you travel around a
I
lot?
did more before I had a 5-year-old. I try to go to basically everything. I mean, particularly when WKOs were firing everywhere, we were going. I mean, I would say every month we were going somewhere. But then since I have my COVID and my kid now, I just I do anything that's within a couple of hours of here. I'll go to that. But then I try to do for sure. I usually will do nationals, Rock Cup. Orlando. I haven't been in Orlando the last 2 years, but Orlando and then Worlds. I'll do those big four, and then I'll try to do three of those for sure, and then one of those might get changed out for like I've done Canadian Nats or some of the other ones. I'll go for one of those. So it's usually I give myself 4 big events, if that makes sense, and then the rest I'll try to do everything within a few hours of here.
and the Dallas Fort Worth has a lot of good spots within a few hours. You got
Yeah, so either
Austin,
Austin,
Houston, Oklahoma,
Tulsa, yeah, Fayetteville.
Arkansas.
Yeah. So usually there's at least I mean again when it was really blowing and going a few years ago we had trips every weekend, but now it's I don't know, it's probably at least once a quarter for sure, for a local, for a more regional event, and I try to hit all the weekends.
And if they ever put states in El Paso, I don't expect to see you.
You know what? I would probably do that. I still probably would go, because I want to support it. I really do. That's the other thing is, I mean, that's the only way we keep this thing going. We're talking about how the thing can cannibalize itself. There's also the thing could just die if we don't show up to events. That's just it, right? And so I love the casual game, and the game can play forever. But I have a feeling that if the competitive game dies, the casual game will die too. So, in my opinion, I feel like I have to go to support those as much as I can, because I don't know, I put a lot of time and effort in this game. I want to keep going.
Is there anything in Smash and Destroy that you're particularly interested in watching?
Freya, I think is awesome.
Yes, Freya is awesome.
I haven't really figured it out fully yet, but I think I mean, just what you get for the points, the longevity of the dial. I mean, free. I mean, she's marksman. She's free, you destroy her for she can get either trick arrows or or destroy her for free. Really, really long dial. Kind of, what she can do with her marker is pretty cool. I don't know. She's probably my top one that I think that we'll see legit play. I think in the 400 Highlander, I think Destroyer Prime is pretty good. I'm just saying that. I think he's legit there. I don't know how much in 300, I think you can deal with him. I just think you can. But in 400, I don't know. You can put 130 points of support with that piece, and particularly all modern support. That feels pretty beefy. But I don't know how long after this coming, the event in 2 weeks. I'd say those are probably the top two that I really like. I mean, Destroyer is probably the biggest piece to come out of that set. The Prime, the equipment. It's probably the most important piece to come out of that set, in my opinion.
Probably. So I got a question about casual games. Do you have a certain scenario you'd like to play?
Let's see here. I love it when it's chaotic as possible. That's my favorite. But I don't know. Okay, I enjoy, and we've talked about clones stuff before. My favorite, probably my favorite casual game I ever played was you get to build your team, whatever it was, 300 points, 400 points. It was golden age back in the day. But if I hit you, your piece becomes mine, and then if you hit me, my piece becomes yours. Now, what I loved about that game was just a lot of just back and forth and back and forth, and then that was one of the most fun little scenarios I've ever played. Very chaotic, and I think we had a minimum of 5, 6 pieces on the board each, so just a lot of hitting back and forth. It was a lot of fun. But I love free for all, multi people on a map, free for all constructed. That's one of my favorite maps. They're free for all. Yeah, and well, this is not necessarily casual, but my favorite format of all is 3v3 Highland. That's my favorite format of all. Out of more than single constructed, sealed, I think 3v3 Highland is my favorite. Yeah.
An idea that I've been playing around with in my brain. Excuse me. Are you familiar with the show Hot Ones on YouTube?
Yeah, where they eat hot sauces and stuff.
Yeah, it's an interview show where they talk to celebrities, they ask questions, but the host and the celebrity both take a bite of a hot wing, and it gets increasingly hotter as they're trying to communicate these questions and think about the answers, and it gets really silly. And I was thinking about a Clix version of that, where at the beginning of each turn you take a bite of a hot wing, and to see how good the player can maintain that level of intellect when their mouth is on fire.
Yeah, that definitely sounds interesting. Yeah, definitely.
Is that something you think you would be able to do?
I could try. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm a pushover when it comes to spicy stuff. But I don't think I would be the world champion when it comes to spice, right? But no, I could. I don't know how well I could handle that, but I would definitely participate. I would definitely participate.
All right. Would you consider yourself a better builder or a pilot?
I don't know. I'm gonna say I'm a better pilot than a builder. I do build a lot of my own teams, but I would say the last couple of years, my last 2 Worlds teams were Dustin Cedar's specials. He showed them to me, and one year I played animals that had 2 Miss Marvels, 2 maggots, lockjaw, just a bunch of animals, and just goes and just wallops you. We were practicing one day, and he just said, "Hey, let me just show this team I built." And he wasn't going to go to Worlds that year, and I said, "Hey, I don't have a team right now." Kind of like it was around this time of year. Do you mind if I just start tweaking it and playing it? And he said, "Sure." So I started running it, and then last year, even the Triple Kongs, I didn't even build that team. Just Dustin, I forgot what I was working on. I was working on something else, and one day we practiced it, and I said, "This just it kicked my rear for whatever team I was playing," and I just said, "Look, you mind if I play it?" And he said, "No," and I just ran it from then on. And so I would say that I think I'm a better pilot. I think I'm an okay builder, but I would say right now, the last 2 years, I've been piloting on somebody else's team.
I mean, it helps to go hand in hand if you're building and piloting. And if you can pilot something else, then it just makes your game even better.
And absolutely. And I tweaked a little thing from he gave me a shell and we kind of went from there. But no, and here's the thing. That's what I love about this game too, right? You can, this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, I don't have a problem with net decking and whatever. If you can build something and make it better, then do it, right? Or even build it and play it better than me, then do it. Or if you can just repeat it and win, that's fine too. I mean, who cares? It's just a game first.
Yeah, I used to like taking Kenny Minx's teams and showing him that he's doing it wrong.
I'm sure he loved that.
I mean, sometimes I would get it wrong, but sometimes I got it right.
Yeah.
Something that Scott and I have toyed around with is the idea of it's in his casual corner that he's going to talk about later, but where you build a team and then somebody else plays it, you swap teams. How do you think that would go for you?
Well, are you playing knowing that they're going to swap? Because we used to do that here locally.
Yes.
And we had the crappiest team possible, right? Which is a whole different team building skill, right? You go on the opposite side of it, and
yes.
So, I mean, if you think about it, it's just another aspect of the same thing. Right?
Yeah, one man's trash is another man's treasure. That's what I call the game. If you had 2d6 in front of you right now, you're gonna roll a crit hit or a crit miss.
I'm gonna roll a crit hit.
Thank you. Finally, someone says crit hit.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'll tell you. I mean, I'm not saying I don't have pessimistic views. think I had some on this podcast, but I don't know if I live in that pessimistic world all the time. It leads me down a path of despair. Right? I'm just being. I know I'm getting real deep there for a moment, but if I live in that space, it's too often, and I gotta. If I focus on what could be, then it's better than what I focus on yeah, could be versus what potentially negative could be, right? If that makes sense.
So, how superstitious are you of a player? Do you use the same dice?
Ooh,
Do you wear the same
yes, I
socks with
never
every
change
tournament?
dice. I never change dice. I'm not gonna like. I usually will have a couple dice out there. This is the dice I'm going to use for this tournament, and usually I'll use these for usually months, if not years. And usually they're sentimental dice, like there's someone gave them to me, or like my son's name is Rocket, so I have a set of Rocket dice. So I always like that's one of them. I have a friend that passed away a couple of years ago. His name is Jeff. I have a pair of dice with his face on it. I use those, and then right now I'm using these Spider-Man dice. Why? I don't know. I rolled hot one time, and like I think I have in a tournament, and it's like I've kept them going. But that's it. Those are the only dice. And I will run those for years until, for some reason, something changes in my Spider-Man dice. But those other two just stay there forever, and I don't change out dice. I don't, I make sure I don't like wear the same dirty underwear, or don't shave or something like that. But I'm trying to think. Do I have any superstitions? Not really. I don't think so. I don't like. But I do just. I stay with the dice. I know people change it out. They do. I was like, nope. You just stay with it. Just stay.
Believe in the heart of the dice.
All right, Scott.
Yeah.
Ask your booster question that you're wrong
Is
about.
is there a proper way to open a Heroclix booster?
Yeah. I ripped the whole top off from you know where the hanging part is.
Yeah, like some mongoloid. That's what you do. You
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like
So I
put
just
your
take
fingers
that
through it and
piece.
rip it off.
I take that, yeah, literally. I take that first little tab part, rip that piece off, so then you can get into the top, and then I rip the top off from there, and then I slide it out.
Okay, you're
That's
both
how I do
wrong.
it.
You're both
No.
wrong.
I
That
used to keep the boxes and you cared about the tops and all that stuff, but now that it doesn't matter. I just rip them off. That's
there's one piece of tape on the bottom. You press it
hard.
in, and then you take the tape off, and then you open the bottom. It's so easy. No knife, no
No,
pressure. It's just here you go, one piece of tape. I don't have to rip through the cardboard. I don't have to cut the tape.
no, I just rip. I'm a Neanderthal. I just rip off the whole top and then I just go at it. Yeah,
Mongoloid Mike.
Do you have
we
any?
call it what do we call it? Clix digging. Whenever we get a new and so we crack it open, and Rocket and I will go through them all. Anything that's duplicates, he knows he gets a copy of. It's his, and it's a whole process. So yeah, we just rip it off.
Do
Yeah.
you have any theories about distribution as far as where the good boosters are in a brick?
I used to. I don't know if I think they used to be like it felt like there was more back on the corners. Everybody was on the corners. But now I don't know. I mean, now I don't care. I just grab randomly and just go with it. You buy so many boosters, it's like it's gonna be rares or super. I just kind of you know what? I just thought I'm usually optimistic, and I just bought two boosters the other day. I said these are going to be rares. I know they are, so I did manifest two rares. By the way. So I should manifest super rares next time.
Yeah,
But no, I just grab. I don't care. Yeah.
Well, Wizkids blew my theory out of the water yesterday. I opened a brick of Smash and Destroy, and I always think that the good ones are on one end, so I start at the opposite end. My first booster had Chase. My second booster had Super Rare Prime. So my theory just was completely wrong on that one. What else you got, Scott?
Um, Mike, do you remember the dress from several years ago? The black and blue or the gold and white dress?
Yes. Yeah.
What color was the dress?
I'm trying to think. I think what were the options? It was gold and blue, or
Gold
black,
and white or black and blue?
it was black and blue. That's
Okay.
what I heard. That's what I heard. Black and blue. I've heard of. Oh yeah, that's always weird how that works. But that's what I heard.
So I mean, you can see it in the different pictures from different lighting that it would change colors, but no, it was black and blue.
I'd have to look at it again. It's been a little bit, but yeah, I do
Yeah, it's been
remember.
like 10 years, 15
Yeah.
years. You got any nicknames that we should know about?
Okay. I do actually have a couple. Okay. So when I was a kid, when I was in college, my cousins called me this, but I have small hands. I'm part Filipino, and it's small hands. Most Filipinos have small hands, so I can say that 'cause I'm Filipino. But and my friend, we play basketball. I would fumble the basketball a bit. They'd throw it to me and just couldn't quite grip it right. And so I was called little-handed joker for many years in college, the little-handed joker. So I would say that when it came to playing basketball, the little-handed joker. Uh, I don't know. Otherwise, that's probably the biggest one I'd probably say. I had some of my family names, but they're not that exciting or anything. But yeah,
Now,
but nothing,
Christina
nothing.
might have a name for you or two.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I don't know if that's something I could say on the air there, but yeah.
My next question is going to be digging into the Jeff Farrow Memorial
Oh,
event that you've been
oh,
doing for a few years now.
yeah,
And before that, it was called the Throwdown.
yeah.
What
It was
made you want to start that?
yeah. So I don't know. I've been doing this since I don't know 2016, 2017, something like that. So I was part of a team called the Uncanny Clixman, and there was a group of guys in Arkansas called
Juggernaut,
Team
Team
Juggernaut.
Juggernaut.
And so when we would go to events, just like I met with Scott and all the other people, we became friends. They were just kindred folks. We just enjoyed hanging out with them. They were just similar age, similar minded, just really fun guys. And then we started just running around together. Well, they hosted a tournament in the fall for one of their friends that had passed away, and they included us in the tournament one year. And so we went. We had a great time. I was like, you know what? They do this in the fall. We should do something in the spring, and we called it the Clixman versus Juggernaut Throwdown. And so we did that in the spring, and so we've just been doing that every year. And then Jeff passed away a couple of years ago, and we shifted the name from the old name to the Jeff Farrell Memorial Throwdown. And it feels good because I mean Jeff's been gone now 3 years now, but I say his name all the time. I'm saying it right now in the community, and so for people who know him, great. If you didn't know him, they get to say his name out there. And even when I play with those dice, and people always ask me, "What is that? Who is that?" I say his name almost every tournament, right? So it's just kind of cool. And especially if I roll and his heads come up, it's a six. So it's like it's a big deal.
So my cousin passed away a couple of years ago, and I've wanted to have some dice made with his ash inside of it, but I have yet to find someone that can do that.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'll keep a lookout. But I'm sure that someone can. I'm sure that's definitely something can
Did you
happen.
reach out to
Uh,
Hoffner?
No, I have not reached out to Hoffner. That's a good question. I can ask him.
but that tournament it started that way, and then it's a lot of what I said about why I go to these events, except for it's all boiled down into just it's more intimate, it's smaller. We get about 20-ish, 20 to 30 people. Well, let's say we get about 20, but we get between 20 and 30 people at the event. So just let everybody know what it is. I invite. It's usually by invitation because here's why. I'll explain why. I invite people to come to my house, and so we ended up almost everyone stays in my house. Literally, it's like you're in college again. People sitting on the floor. If you want to camp outside, you can. And then we just set up tables and we will just play a regular tournament. But there's usually some kookier rules to it, and it's a whole weekend thing. Friday night's a big party. We just kind of hang out. There's a whole bunch. We had karaoke. We had drinking. We had a fun time. Saturday was a whole day of playing this weird, different format. I'll explain what that was in a moment. And then at the end, it's just more, kind of carry over from the Friday, and then Sunday everybody get the hell out. And we have a really great couple of days. And since everybody's here, you don't have to go to another hotel. We order food in. I mean, people don't leave this house for 2 days, and and it's really kind of great and special because sure it's clicks, but that's just a social lubricant to get us to be together and to reconnect. So like when Scott was saying, whenever they want to see you, I legitimately care about their lives, and so that's a little bit throwdown is kind of a forced reunion, so to speak.
I have yet to make it to one, and I've gotten invitations for at least 5 years now.
Yeah,
So I'm sorry,
and
sir. I will make one.
that's fine. It's fine. No, I'd be happy to have you, but I understand. But it really it's a fun time. I mean, it is not just about. I mean, even the group that plays, about a third are going hardcore. About a third are somewhere in the middle, and about a third are just there. They have a fun night play clicks once a year.
Well,
And
with the
so,
scenarios, it's hard to go hardcore into it.
yeah. And I picked weird scenarios. This year it was a 4 player free for all on a map. And it was, but basically using the normal BR format rules. It's constructed where you could build your own team, but BR rules where if something died, it came back. And if you killed something, you made a little splash where it did damage in a radius, whatever you killed something. And then the person who did the killing, his stats goes up +1. And then that lasts until they died or whatnot. And it was a pretty chaotic game. Yeah, there's a lot of because you could blow yourself up to then do a bunch of damage because people coming at you. There was a whole lot of people would literally they were teams would attack and then blow their entire selves up because they'd be off the map and they're going to come back. And the way we anyway, it doesn't matter. Just getting the details of it. There's just a lot of neat nuances. And again, this is a format we'll never probably play again. So it's just a really fun, intense one-off event. We put a lot of effort into a ban list, the whole thing, and usually give people plenty of notice to like what's going on with it, and it's something different every year. Next year's just going to be sealed. We already decided that.
So I feel like every year you give out something uniquely prized for future
Oh yeah.
throwdown events. Like you have an F. Matt Donald.
Well, I can't get. Okay,
Card.
I will say this. I know we always say this is my event, and it did start out. I created the event, but I'm going to give Charles Garst, a lot of credit. First off, he's my partner in crime on this. He runs the game. I get to play. I know it's at my house, and you think I just like to play. And so I'm playing, but he runs the event. I come up with a scenario. I get some help from other people too. We get some input from it. We stick it out there. But Charlie makes a ton of free stuff. So it started years ago. We started making custom stuff on our own, and then Charlie got into 3D printing, and now we have made every year there's something. He makes trophies. He makes this year, yeah, it was F. Matt Dunham was a one shot that basically if you pay 50 points, if you play against Matt Dunham, you automatically win. And so that's how that one worked. One of them was called, I hope it's okay to say here, it's called Whiskey Dick. Basically, it's the opposite of rivalry. If you share a keyword, you can once per game. You basically do the one shot of flip over and a guaranteed miss instead of a guaranteed hit. Things like that. But Charlie made this year. We had the leadership of Matrix from Transformers. He made a dumpster fire. I don't know. Every year it's different. We made Four Bushman before Four Bushman was cool years ago. We actually took what was it? Red Tornado. It was the woman with a pot on her head. Well, a friend of mine had. If you take her boobs and you just take a machine, you can just shave them right off, and you paint them. It's a dude now, and now it's Four Bushman. And so it has the right cape, has the pot on the head, and it makes it look just perfect. And so we did it with Four Bushman, and we've just had a bunch over the years. I had a custom Mr. Mind. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun. A custom map of my house, and we've given out those. It's something new, something every year. One year was 6 different, way overpowered items, but it was a part of the scenario. Like basically, we have an Infinity Gauntlet that turns you into Legacy Thanos, but it's 50 points. So it gives you all of his traits. The wall of text on Legacy Thanos' card, you get all of that for 50 points. Stuff like that.
All right, well, thank you for that.
Yeah, it's a fun weekend. It's I look forward to that weekend just as much as I do Worlds. That's how important it is. Yeah. And I think some other folks do too. At least I hope they do. It means a lot.
Well, do you have any other questions before we get into the next segment?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Hey. Hey. How how does Darth Vader like his steak? He likes it done well. Dun 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 dun. Hey. Hey. How does a polygamist hippie count his wives? 1 Mrs. Hippie, 2 Mrs. Hippie, 3 Mrs. Hippie.
So, Mike, we do something on this show called the Clix Questionnaire. And this is something that I dug into the AI. I connected with Kevin here, and he told me exactly what questions to ask to get inside the mind of a player. so the community can truly know you. They know your name, but they don't know you. So are you brave enough to stand these questions?
I will do my best.
Best sandwich.
A plain and dry hamburger or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Peanut butter
I know you would
hamburger.
combine the two. I know you would combine the two.
Yes.
Okay, if I could only eat one thing the rest of my life, it would be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Toasted?
Toasted would be great, but I'm gonna be asking for too much if I was on a dead
Grape or strawberry?
But yeah, if I could only eat one thing, it'd be that simple peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I guess that's probably my hand.
That's why I love you.
Grape or strawberry?
Ooh, jelly or
Yeah,
in
jelly.
general?
Jelly.
Oh, great.
If it's grape or strawberry, I like grape. But my wife makes a mesquite bean jelly, and it is delicious.
Yeah, I like muscadine. We call it muscadine in Arkansas. What would you say, muscadine?
Mesquite bean.
Oh, I misheard that. Okay, I don't know what that is. Mesquite bean.
You know what a mesquite tree is.
Oh yeah.
They have little bean pods, and when they dry off and fall down, you take them and you boil them and you filter all that out and you use the water, add your sugar and pectin, and there you go, mesquite bean jelly.
I know. That's. I will look that up. Look for that.
I'll bring you a jar next time I see you.
I would love it.
You are able to add a power to the PAC. What are you adding and why?
Oof. Let me think. Well, I would make if I could make a change, it'd be I'd make leap climb better because it's kind of or earthbound better because both of those don't do it. One doesn't do anything and one doesn't do enough.
How would you improve them?
I think I would make leap climb have a version of pounce. Do you remember the old feet pounce?
He doesn't.
Oh, okay. Basically, either that they could, after they move, they could do just a lowercase attack would be great. Or that they could, what was that old one, maneuver, I think? After you hit someone, you could reposition them adjacent to you. Something like that, right? You just allow them, make it a much more offensive power. Right now, it just doesn't do anything. I'm trying to think, if I could add anything to the PAC, I'm probably going to cop out. I think that the fact that the WWE powers they're kind of done, I think that's a mistake. There's some really cool stuff in there that I think, like, Nimble is different enough than Sidestep. You know what I mean? It gives you improved characters and allows you to move one square. That's a different nuance to Sidestep, right? Or there's just a lot of different things in there that I just like better. I'm kind of skirting around the answer. Man, I don't really know if I would really, because I think most of what I want to see, I'd like to see some, I don't know, I think it's going to be a representation of that too. I don't know, I think I'm going to stick with my answer to what I just said there, that I would rather incorporate WWE properly, at least some of that into the pack.
Reversal was really good.
Reversal's good. I mean, there's just a lot of just stuff that I like that I just wish that were in there. I mean, some lightning speed can go away. It's fine. It doesn't do enough or whatever. But like, there's some cool speed slam. Again, there's some things you could do with that. You could position, like we were just talking about with leap climb. Positioning is huge.
Lightning speed was good. What are you talking about? Ultimate Warrior carrying a Moloid?
Okay, he's okay. There's that one niche because he got to do it twice or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
and you carry a Moloid when you're equipped with the power gem. It's like +1, +2. It was stupid. Or +3 damage.
Yeah.
What is your favorite MCU movie so far?
MCU movie. I probably liked Infinity War the best. I think it's the most. I like two. I hope I'm kind of cheating a bit. I liked Infinity War because I liked that it put Thanos as the hero. People think that it's not correct. If you think of what the definition of a hero is, it's like there's a protagonist and an antagonist, and he drives that whole story. It's Thanos driving it more than anybody else, in my opinion. Anyway, but I think Infinity War as a whole is a pretty well-made movie. I think Quantumania is my favorite, though, because I think it's just super fun and super silly. And I like weird, and that skirts the realm of weird pretty well. And it does it still in a mainstream way, and my kid loved it, too. So, and that's a movie that could have probably lost a lot of people, but I think Quantumania is
Vanilla ice cream. What do you put on top?
Hard shell, chocolate hard shell.
What number am I thinking of?
13.
No. Why does everybody say
No,
13?
it's a 3-digit number. Try
Oh, I didn't
again.
hear 3 digits. I just heard what number. Okay.
He just said number.
Yeah.
In his interview, we found out it's a 3-digit number.
Oh, a 3-digit number. 646.
No.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs. I'm allergic to cats. I do like cats fine. They don't like me. Or I guess my body doesn't like them.
Are you familiar with Red, White, and Clix?
Yes, I'm familiar with it. I have not been able to make it yet, but it's another one of those ones I would like to figure out how to put in rotation. But yeah, I've heard about it.
Well, you'll be watching on May 21st when I do the live stream to talk about what's coming up in November.
Yeah, I will.
All right.
I wrote myself a note. I'm a big note taker.
So I don't know if you pay attention to all the different content creators out there, but there's a trend going on with. I have my alter ego of Wespool. Miles Kane has Aqua Miles and Hollywood Miles, and then Ryan Redmond has Rebgorn. If you were to create a Heroclix alter ego, what would yours be?
I would be some version of Colossus, like something. If it's like a power like that, or are you just talking about like? Oh, I see what you're saying.
So you got Rocket. That makes you Groot, right?
Yeah, I'd probably go Rocket and Groot. It works really well. Yeah.
Are you in the camp of Wespool or our team Aqua Miles?
Ooh, okay. I didn't know that there was a few between the two. I'm gonna go with Wespool. I'm on your show.
All right. Let's see here. One of my favorite questions. Actually, Scott, why don't you ask this one? I want you to ask this one, the Thanos question.
Oh man, I think this question is not fair to people. But okay. So the way the questions wrote out, if Thanos snapped and you were gone for 5 years and your wife and son have finally accepted the loss of the immaculate Mongoloid Mike Eskew, and then 5 years later, boom, here he is again. Are you cool with them moving on, or are you wanting to be reasserted into their life? I mean, because to you, no time has passed.
I would, if they had moved on, I would not blame them or be upset with them. But I would hope that they could find space for me to still be a part of their lives, and I would not blame, like Christina for moving on at all. I would hope. I mean, we're still in our 40s. I would hope that she would still have some runway left in her to have a romantic life and to provide a structure for my kiddo. And if that's what she's doing with those intentions, that feels pretty good. I'm getting pretty deep here, right? But then I hope that they would find space for me on the other side of it. So yeah, I'd be okay with it.
Best Deadpool movie of the trilogy?
I'd say the first one. I like the first one. The second one was a little weaker in my opinion. I like the first one. Yeah.
DC or Marvel?
As a kid, it was Marvel. As an adult, it's mostly DC. Right now, it's back to Marvel because that's what my kids mostly.
What else we got?
So do you have a proudest Heroclix achievement?
Ooh.
You can say the Jeff Farrow Memorial event aside. Like, I know you've won a few states.
I do enjoy that. Whenever people show up to that and that they want to be there, that's something I'm pretty proud of. And proud's not the right word. I'm just happy about it. Maybe that's just a better way. I mean, proud. I don't know my proudest achievement is that most people want to play me.
I don't know if I've ever played you.
You played me. Yeah, you did. You actually... No, you didn't play. You commented on my team. You didn't play for it. I did.
Maybe at that casual event that we went to that you drug me to?
maybe. I hope I didn't come off too pompous when I said that. But I mean, some people tell me that they come to me, I really want to play Mike Eskew, and that makes me feel good. That makes me feel proud in a way because I don't know. What I've always said, I want to come off as someone that's afraid of me because I'm at least good, but want to play me because it's going to be a good time. And that's where I want to. That makes it. I'm not afraid of the right word. Respect me because I'm a good player. Like respect my ability, but at the same time, want to play me because we're going to try to have a good time. And that's where it's going to be first. Is that side of it. I want to be that side. So I hope it answers your question right. That it's just that's what I'm. But I've heard people come to me and say, "I really want to play you. I'm glad I got to play Mike Eskew." And that's the thing. As far as an individual event, I don't know. My first my first big win is my first biggest achievement. Or a big win is a state tournament. I think I went to Oklahoma or Texas or whatever. And I had gone through years of finishing second or third. Everybody does this. You go through a series where you're finishing just right on the cusp, and then you finally win one of them, and then it just I don't know. It kind of built the confidence a little bit differently after that, and then it's just not it's not. I'm not playing to win anymore. I'm playing again, like I said before. I'm playing against myself. Before I was playing to get that win, and now I'm trying to play to be better. So, hope that answers the question.
All right, let's back the dial up here a second. You just said you guys have not played against each other. You've known each other for over 10 years. You lived out as house. You've never played each other?
I don't think I've played him. Like maybe in a practice game at his house, but I don't really call that a game. Like if we're just gonna stand here and walk through the motions, I mean, like I've been in his house and he's had stuff all over the table, but we'd come in or when I stayed at his house for those 3 days, we he would get in, I would come in shortly after him. I don't think Christina was around that week. She was out of town.
Yeah.
We'd go have dinner. We went to a casual game. We talked about the next day, and then like the third day, I think I came and picked up my bags and left.
Yeah.
Because I was ready to go home. No offense to him, he was a great host.
No, you're right. We just haven't. It's just sometimes it's just the way it goes. Sometimes we just don't. Our placements didn't match up right.
So who would come out on top theoretically?
It's going to be a fun game. So nah,
Yeah.
I think Mike would come out on top.
Nah, his different builds are. Because I'm usually planning for what I'm expecting to see, and Scott never plays what I'm expecting to see.
No, I never do.
That would give you an edge. Yeah.
So, who is the most famous person you've actually met?
I've met a few famous people. I'm trying to think. I met Quentin Tarantino at a film festival and we shook his hand. I don't know. I met here people that I'm trying to think. He's probably the most famous person I've met. Yeah, he's that person.
Cool. All right. Well, those were Kevin's questions from the Clix questionnaire. Now the community fully knows Mike Eskew. How does it feel to be fully known?
I feel a little exposed and vulnerable right now.
Well, Mike,
okay.
it's been great to have you on. I've heard your name a lot over the last few years since I started playing, mostly on podcasts and stuff, but I didn't really know much about you. So this has been really fun for me.
Well, thanks for having me on. And again, because I got a relationship with Scott for years, but Wes, I didn't have as much one for you. But now, now I feel like we get to know each other a little bit more, and looking forward to actually connecting at an event. It'd be great. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you, and thank you for having me on back when you were podcasting on Shots Fired. So.
Oh, that was fun. That was a lot of fun, and I do miss those guys, and I wish they would come back. But yeah, sometimes it's just at the a little bright moment, and then it moves on. But I hope that they will come back.
Well, Scott, do you have any final thoughts before we sign off?
No, I think I'm good. I really appreciate seeing Mike and talking to him again. It's been since States that we chatted, and that was awesome. I finally got fellowship over him, so hooray me.
Mike, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I just want to say thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it, and I know I was kind of long-winded on some of those answers, so just thanks for letting me drone on for you.
Well, that's why we do this, so we can hear your innermost thoughts about Heroclix.
You have a commercial to
Yes,
do,
I
and
do.
I have some casual corner to talk about.
So this show is brought to you by Clix Creator by John Hoffner. John is a 3D printer, and he can print anything you can think of, from tokens, dice. He's printing me some trophies for Red, White, and Clix. He's making custom deity bases and cases and trays. If you can dream it up, he can do anything. He's got glow in the dark stuff. Sent me a custom shelf with Deadpool in the background, and then LED lights all around it. He's got figures with LED lights in them for Lantern Legacy. He's making custom deity bases that light up. They glow. It's really cool. So if you need anything Clix related or otherwise that he can 3D print, if you can think of it, he can print it.
Awesome. All right, for Casual Corner, I want to talk about a game called Exiles. Finally, I have the video finished up. I sent it over to Wes, so maybe he can cut it into this little snippet here at the end. We play a 700-point game. If you're not familiar with the Exiles comic, it starts off with about 5 to 6 different characters, and when one dies, another one will replace it in the story, and it just continues on. Like, they have to acclimate to where they hop in at and figure out what's going on. So we play a 700-point game. You have 10 figures. 5 of them will start randomly on the map. The other 5 are your bench. When one dies, you place a special marker out on the map, and kind of like a battle royal, whenever your next turn starts, you'll replace the special marker with the character. It can come in 3 spaces from the special marker, so that way it's not getting dogpiled as soon as it gets on the map. And you just play. It's usually a 90-minute game instead of a 60-minute game. That way you have more time to get more of those figures in. I hope you enjoy the video that's going to go along with this to show you how to play the game. And let us know what you play and how it works for you.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for being here tonight. I love talking to you guys. Scott, you're always a delight. And Mike, it is wonderful getting to know you. I've heard so much about you, and it's kind of meeting a celebrity at this point. When I've heard so much about you, and I didn't really know who you were until now. So I'm excited.
Well, I hope I gave you guys the content that you guys were looking for and all that. So I think okay.
Well, everybody out there, thank you for listening or watching, whichever way you're consuming this. And as always,
Keep on Clixing.
Have a good night.
Alright guys, setting up for the Exiles game. We have a bunch of chips numbered 1 through 10 for each player. Characters are listed out 1 through 10. We'll pre-draw to see who gets to be put on the map first to start the game. So he's going to start the game with number 10, Star-Lord from Collector's Trove. Number 7, Yondu from Collector's Trove. Number 6, Yondu Christmas. Number 5, Groot from Collector's Trove. And number 3, Cosmic Rider. Alright, first run through. Exiles game. It's going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy versus Monsters. Return, an exile gets to replace within 3 spaces of the special. So we're going to draw a token for you. Number 8, Ant-Man, Collector's Trove.
Put Ant-Man right here. What? Special's right here.
Alright, you can remove the special. Hawkman will die. The Lizard. No range team.